particularly now we're back to in person. We go around our local shops, our local doctor's surgeries. We go into the library, and wherever there's a notice board, we get our posters up in that location. And again, it's about getting your information out to as many places as possible. I would also suggest that we keep a database of every inquiry that we've had and every visitor that's been to our club. And I'll go back to what I said earlier. They might not join now, but they might join in a year's time. So keep notifying them, keep letting them know when you've got meetings. We've had people that inquired 2 years ago and have only just joined. So don't assume that if they don't come now, they're never going to come. They may well come in 1 or 2 or 3 years' time. And just remember what that message again is. It's all about timing. If these things lands on their desk at the right time or lands in their inbox at the right time, it may just encourage them to come to our club. So it's very much a timing and numbers game. Just a little bit about our recent experiences. The meetup that I'm going to take you into, the one that was started in 2014, now has 1,530 meetup members. That's a big number. And every one of those we can actually contact. They can unsubscribe from Meetup, but they very rarely do because they're probably using Meetup for all sorts of other things that they might be interested in. But it means that we can actually contact those 1,530 members on a fairly regular basis. Fairly typically, this, as I say, this is based on some recent experiences. We had 80 new meetup members that actually joined in a reasonable period of time. I think I did a quick inquiry and we actually had 14 new meetup members in February. So, that's 14 new people that came in to meet up and decided that they were interested in looking at us. In terms of other things, via our website, Toastmasters International, Facebook and LinkedIn, we got around about 30 have expressed an interest. So that's a sort of 110 people that express some kind of interest in our club. In terms of around about 50% of those actually decided they'd like to come along to a meeting. So they responded to an inquiry or they asked for a Zoom link if it was an online meeting. So around about half of those people that looked as though they were interested actually did something about that. Out of that 50, around about 33 of them attended once. You'll see here that whenever we do a publicity on guest nights, we actually increase those numbers. So you can see that whenever we had a guest night, it's actually brought more interest into the club. So of those 33 that attended at least once, 19 have joined. So you can begin to see that it's all about numbers at the beginning to get numbers to actually come into the club. Anybody that's been on a sales course will have heard about sales funnels, and this is based on our statistics in terms of what do we expect. We reckon that for every 100 people that get to know about us, 30 of those may take enough interest to want to come along. Out of those 30, 20 of them may actually attend a meeting. Out of that 20, 10 of them may join. Out of the 10 that join, 5 of them may make some reasonable progress on pathways, and only 3 of them may actually renew at membership renewal time. So you can begin to see that we do need to try and increase the level of people that know about us and to try and encourage them to come along to a meeting. Here's a good example as well. I did say that Meetup doesn't really sit on its own or stand on its own. It's about the amount of activity that you put in. And my clubs are quite good at this at the moment, is that every time we have a meeting, we post something. So we post something prior to the meeting in terms of, let's let people know that our meeting's going on. And the ones that you see at the top there are from our online club. And we've got our VP PR is based in Malta. He's a bit of a whiz now with Canva, and he churns these little posters out. And every poster every month is different. We don't send out the same poster every month or every meeting. So what you see here is the last couple of ones that were produced. The other thing that we try and do is when we've had a meeting, we put some stuff out on social media about the meeting. And we try and make photos really because we want people to see that we're having a good time and that there's quite a few people involved. So this picture on here is 4 new members that we inducted in a meeting recently. And this shows the audience in that meeting. So at least it can be seen that it's a fairly busy environment. And we think that, you know, the more people you get in there, the more you get a real buzz in the meeting. And I think if you can try and show that in the images that you're putting out, then you're going to have even greater success. So before I go into our Meetup demonstration, just a little bit of information about Meetup is that for every license, you can run 3 clubs. And what we've done is that we've got 3 clubs running off our 1 license, but we've now piggybacked our online club off one of those clubs. So we've actually got 4 clubs that are running off that account at the moment. So the new online club uses the Sponsoring Clubs Meetup. The actual cost is £85 for 6 months for those 3 or 4 clubs, which works out at £28 per club for 3 clubs, or as we've got 4 running off it, it's £21 per club. So it's good value for money in terms of, it's probably the cheapest way to generate interest. So I will stop this share, and I will go into the meetup. So what you've got here is the initial welcome page. Can you see this okay? Can I just have a thumbs up again if you can see it? Okay. So what you'll see here is these are the 3 clubs that are running off ours. It's East Midlands Speakers. We've got Nottingham Robin Hood Speakers. This is the one that's been going the longest. So you'll see that currently we have 1,535 members in there. The Nottingham Robin Hood Speakers Club has 339 members. That was our second club that we started after East Midlands, and then Lincolnshire was the more recent one, and they've got 297 meetup members. So again, you can sort of see the numbers of the people involved. I'm going to go into the East Midlands Speakers one. So this is our open page. One of the things that we could be better at is that this is quite an old photo on here, but at least it was a photo that showed lots of people. You know, and I think the more that you can actually show, this was one of our area contests, I think. So we put that up there. Interestingly, I did this presentation about 2 weeks ago, and we had 1,530 members then. We've now got 1,535 members. So we have 5 more members join this meetup recently. Let's go into, have a look now at past events. Actually, no, I'll go back on that and I'll start off with the members. Let's just do a little bit about that, if I can do that. So what you'll see here is it is our 1,535 members. I can go into those and I can sort them. So I can look at who's visited recently. So this was interesting. I put out a post today about a new meeting, and Sam Gadsby has already responded to that. So that went out this afternoon, that new posting about the meeting, and we've already got a new person come in. Callum is one of our members, and Joseph is one of our members, but all the others are visitors. So you can see that since the beginning of March, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people join the meetup. Now, the lesson I've learned there is that you need to follow up with them. So if you see this little thing here, I can actually send a message directly to each of these people. And here's a typical, you see here that these are people that we've responded to. So anybody that comes in as a new member or inquires, we do a cut and paste response to them, just to welcome them and tell them a bit about the club, and we hope to see you at a meeting. You can also sort this group in terms of the date they joined. So we can see of who's actually joined recently. So just to give you a feel for that. So let me go into have a look at an event. I want to take you to a particular event because this one was quite an interesting one. This is a meeting that we had on just in January. Let me go through and pick that one up. This meeting here. So this meeting is the online club, and we had 12 people that signed up to attend. Now, not all those people would be people that are non-members. I think 3 of that 12, in fact, let me just pick them up, just to have a look at it. These are the people that responded and said they want to come to the meeting. And as I said earlier, is that everybody that responds will get a response. So we'll thank them for responding. We look forward to seeing them at the meeting. Here is the registration link for that meeting. And if you have any questions, please come back to us. Now, what you'll see here is this is the people that signed up to that meeting. Now, these 3 at the bottom are all members. So Callum, me, and Joseph Galea, here's the guy from Malta. These are members. All the others were visitors to this. Now, what's quite interesting is out of those people, not all of them attended, but Emma attended and she joined us as a result. And that's fairly typical, I suppose. So of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people that signed up, my guess is that probably half of those actually turned up to a meeting and 1 of them joined. But we've now had 3 or 4 people join from since January as a result of all the things that we've done on there. What else can I show you? Let's go through to the one that I launched today. So this is the meeting that I launched today. No excuses online. 4 attendees, 3 of them are us. So myself, Callum and Joseph are here. And as I say, I launched this afternoon and we've already got 1 person who's signed up to attend. I can have a quick look at his profile. I can see, I mean, because this is an online club, this isn't a problem to us. He's based in Birmingham. He is a member of our other East Midlands Speakers. He's a member of that. I don't think he's ever actually come to a meeting at the East Midlands Speakers, as far as I know. So it'd be nice to try and encourage to get him along to this club. What other things can I show you? Yeah, I'll give you an example of the kind of response that I would make. So if I go to a previous meeting, I'll go to the last one. So this was the meeting that we had on the 7th of March. We had 8 people signed up for that. Let's go and have a quick look at them. So myself and Callum are members. Emma is now a member. She was that one that was on the 24th. So she actually joined up as a member. Joseph is one of our members, but Naima, Rahul, Preeti, Karen were visitors or potential visitors. You'll see here, if I go into one of those, you'll see the response that I sent. Send a message. So there's a typical response. So I'll say, they've expressed an interest of attending meetings. So we go in, and this is just a cut and paste job to a certain extent. Hello, Preeti, many thanks for your RSVP. The next meeting of our No Excuses is next Tuesday, 7th of March. You can register to join the meeting and obtain the Zoom link at. The club normally meets on the first and third Tuesdays of the month at 7 p.m. GMT for a 7:15 start, finishing at 9:15. Looking forward to meeting you. From what I can remember, Rahul turned up, Divya turned up, and that was the only ones out of those, I think. Oh, Andy Newsom turned up as well. So out of the numbers that said they would like to come to the meeting, three of them did. The key then is, let me come out of that for a minute. The key then is to make sure that we do whatever we can do when they attend, is to try and convert them into members. I've learned over the years that speed is critical, is that if they've taken sufficient interest, then we have to try and be very quick in responding and encouraging them to join. So what we would normally do is that by the following day, we'll have responded that they attended the meeting. We will have made a response to them, and we'd have sent them all the information about the club. We'd have sent them the membership application form. We'd have sent them the bank details. We'd give them as much information that would encourage them to think seriously about joining us. And again, I think it's how well we look after them on the night, is that we try and be as, and a bit more difficult online, I know, but we try and be as responsive and as helpful, and try and make sure that we demonstrate that we're a friendly bunch, and that we do all we can to try and encourage them to come back again and hopefully join the club. I think those are the sort of main things that I wanted to cover. And what I'll do is I'll leave this up, and then if people have got any specific questions about it, then I can probably pick up and give you some answers on those. So some quick messages, I suppose, is the issue, is that the meetup doesn't sit on its own. It's part of our activity to try and generate visitors to the club, and then to try and convert those visitors into members. So Meetup is valuable. Meetup does generate a significant number of inquiries, but it's not on its own. You have to do an awful lot more to try and proactively support and work with Meetup, and use all those various other things that you have that can actually encourage people to inquire. So it's the posters, it's the social media postings that we do, and it's all the various other activities that support that. Getting stuff up after every meeting is important as well. So posting photos, posting some more flyers of our next events, it actually helps to bring people into Meetup as well. Meetup will generate some interest, but you need to follow up with those. We don't leave it to chance that people turn up at our meeting. Is if they've joined the meetup, then we'll respond to them. If they've responded to a meeting, so that's the RSVP. So if they've said that they would like to attend, then we follow up with them. And then if they do attend, we follow up with them again. The other thing that we do now is with the online club is that everybody has to register beforehand. We did have some Zoom people break in on one meeting, and that caused us some anxiety. So we then followed that up with making sure that everybody that wants to come to a meeting has to pre-register. Once they pre-registered, of course, we've got their email addresses. So if they pre-register and don't turn up to a meeting, we still follow up with them and say, you know, sorry you didn't attend. Here's our link for the next meeting, and we hope to see you there. so can I open it up to some questions?
I think you already have a couple of questions in the chat, John.
Okay. Can somebody read?
Yeah, one person, Lynn asked, did you pay for you mentioned using Canva. Do you pay for your Canva, or do you use the free version of Canva?
We use the free version.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, you'll see from the samples that I showed you that they're all different. You know, we followed the branding details, the branding information in terms of colors and fonts. But Joseph, who produces them, is very clever at making sure that each one looks different.
Okay, and I'll come to you in a minute, Aoife. Aparna is asking, how do you set up a recurring meeting, and when the event is created in duplicate, trying to delete it, but it wouldn't delete straight away? So they're sort of two separate questions. How do you set up a recurring meeting? And if you create a duplicate, how do you delete one?
We don't, let me go back again into it. And we don't set up recurring meetings because you can only do fortnightly, I think. And of course, we don't meet fortnightly. So every meeting that goes up is a new meeting. But let me go in and show you again, if I can do that. Share screen. So you see here, it says copy event.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so you click on that, and you'll bring up, you know, so this meeting here is a standard meeting. But what we try and do again is to make sure that every meeting looks slightly different. So we may change the header. We certainly change the date. And we often change this information in here. So we just try and ring the changes on a regular basis, but we don't put recurring meetings up because, as I said, I think you can only do recurring meetings on a fortnightly basis. And of course, we don't meet every fortnight. We meet on our clubs meet on the 1st and 3rd Mondays or the 1st and 3rd Tuesdays. So, but, you know, I think it's to try and make sure that it's not business as usual, that if we can try and generate that each meeting is slightly different, it's maybe got a slightly different theme, we're going to focus on slightly different aspects as well. The one thing we're doing with both the online club and the East Midlands Club now is every meeting has a theme of some sort. We did International Women's Day this week.
Oh, excellent.
It did generate a lot of debate.
Good.
Fortunately, all ladies won the best speaker, best evaluator, and best table topics. And it wasn't fixed, I promise.
Okay, Aoife has the question. Go ahead, Aoife.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Hi, John. Really good presentation. Hi. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. And just for if people are wondering about Canva, I had never used Canva before. It's very easy to use. And in actual fact, if you just go into YouTube, like there's so many free instruction things. Like if I can use it, anyone can use it. That's all I'd say. What I wanted to ask you, John, is accompanying social media tools to go with Meetup. So would you find LinkedIn or Facebook, or obviously, you know, Twitter probably is more about updates about the meeting. It probably wouldn't necessarily drive attendance at a meeting. What would you recommend, you know, to go alongside Meetup? And also my other question was, I'm toying with also using Eventbrite, but would you think that Eventbrite and Meetup, sorry, these are two separate questions, Eventbrite and Meetup clash with each other, that you should use one or the other, or should you use both?
Yeah, let me tell you what we do is that we will back up our Meetup with Facebook and LinkedIn predominantly. So, you know, for every Meetup meeting, we'll post stuff on Facebook and we'll post stuff on LinkedIn. Probably more so Facebook. You know, I think that generates more inquiries than anything else at the moment. But we try and do both. In terms of Eventbrite, we've found that Eventbrite works best for special events, not for every meeting. So whenever we have a guest night, we'll use Eventbrite. We occasionally celebrate. We celebrated a 200th meeting recently, and we used Eventbrite for that. And I think we used Eventbrite for a 400th meeting the other day. So yeah, we'd only use Eventbrite for special events. I think the danger is that you dilute the amount of things that people can sign into. I suppose we just focused on Meetup as being our main tool for bringing in inquiries into the club.
Yeah, brilliant. That's very helpful. Thank you.
Angela has a question. Do you want to ask a question, Angela?
Yes, thanks very much, John. I was wondering whether, if you got an account that we've kind of inherited or it's been set up by a previous member, first of all, is it easy to change the people who can edit and administer it, own it now? And secondly, can you have several people who can edit, administer, own it? So, for instance, you might have the VPPR putting up information, but you might also want the VPM to follow up on any inquiries, or the president, or even the VPE to put information in there.
Okay, let me show you again, just to give you a feel for that. It's relatively easy to change. So you'll see here, let me go into our, I have to try and remember where some of these things are in here. Go in organizer tools, no. Somewhere in amongst here, it actually tells you where the key people are. So let me click on the organizer. So when we get new officers, it's relatively easy to add them in as additional supporters, as additional organizers. We can also change the hosts.
Right.
I should look at it here somewhere, where it is. Edit group settings.
And is it both the organisers and the hosts that can put information up? And
yes.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, at the moment, in both clubs that we have, because I'm the person that pays the bill, I maintain the sort of common holding of it. But then we add other people like our VP PR. We may add our VP membership, so as they can access and add and change things as well. Mm-hmm. It's in here somewhere. Oh, leadership team. I should have looked at that, shouldn't I? It should have given me a clue. So these are the different people here. You can have organizers, co-organizers, assistant organizers, and event organizers. And you just use this information here to add or change people. Right. So it's relatively straightforward to do that. Did that answer the question? Or
it did, yes, thank you. Yes, that's it. And so presumably they just need an email address to be able to be that one of those.
Yes, I mean, what we do as well is that we originally agreed with our area director that each club would pay because of the conversion rates in the dollar exchange rate that we pay. It's not always the same amount of money right. Each 6-month period. So what we do is we charge each club £25, and the balance is paid by the area director. I've got a feeling now that some area directors actually pay the full amount. I may be wrong, but I've got a feeling that there are some areas where the area director pays the meetup bill. Maybe Elizabeth can answer that.
My experience with Meetup, John, is that usually you get 3 clubs together who will pay. Certainly in my part of the world, that's what we do. We have like 3 clubs together who meet up and pay the meetup bill.
Yeah, that's what we've done. Is that we've encouraged each club to pay the £25 every 6 months, and whatever the balance is when the bill comes in from meetup, then that is picked up by the area director out of their budget. But it's only a small amount. They end up paying, I don't know, £10 or £15, something like that.
Chris, you've got your hand up.
Yeah. No, I've got one question. I don't know if you can hear me because I'm not using my standard microphone today. Can you hear me okay? Okay.
Yeah.
John, can you comment about the poster or leaflet? Do you have any statistic where you're putting them? You mentioned some boards, but do you have like a best places to generate something, or because I'm going through the campaign now and our
Nottingham Club, let me use that one as a good example. The East Midlands Club is a bit more difficult because it's a bit out in the country, but the Nottingham Club is in a nice little town that's got a lot of bars, a lot of coffee shops. It's got a co-op supermarket. It's got a library. It's got a few doctors and dentists and veterinary practices. And what we do is that we go out into that community and look at who's got a notice board and then ask if possible, can we put one of our things up on your notice board? And we could probably distribute 100 leaflets like that. Okay. Anywhere that we think that it can go in. And to a certain extent as well, we actually misbehave. That we might post it and not ask. If we can get at the notice board and there are a few pins that we can stick it on, then we'll do that. I'll tell you what else we did when we started the club as well, is that I was sort of a prolific seminar goer. And every seminar that I went to, I took a load of leaflets and left them on the tables. Okay. I didn't ask if I could do that. I just did it.
Yeah, well, thank you, John.
I think it's back to what I said earlier on, is that the more people that know about you, the better. And you just got to find a way of publicizing what you do in a nice, friendly, warm manner. And that's where I think backup photos of your activities and your events will always help.
Absolutely.
John, you seem to have taken over the management of Meetup, but would you advocate having maybe a Meetup manager, or is it part of the social media manager, or is it part of the VP PR role? How would you place that to make sure it gets managed, because it needs active management?
It's difficult, isn't it? I mean, I've tended to have done that because I pay the bill every 6 months and then send it out to the other clubs to pay. And it works quite well because I've been involved with every one of those clubs in one form or another. So, I've got a fairly friendly relationship with them. But I do think that one person ought to have the overall responsibility for it, and then train and support and help those people that are going to back it up. I'm fairly fortunate that each of the clubs that I'm involved with is got a pretty good PR person, and they're doing quite a good job to follow up with some of the inquiries. But to be honest with you, I mean, it doesn't take up a great deal of my time. So I would go into Meetup. So for the next event that we've got for the online club, probably the week before the event, I will follow up on all of the new members that came in, and I will follow up with anybody that's responded to attend the meeting. And that may take me, I don't know, half an hour to do that, because of the fact that I cut and paste as well. The one thing I didn't show you, let me go into that, because I think I forgot to do that. Let me just do that. The one thing I didn't show you is that I can actually mail every one of those members. So if I go into here, manage group, contact members. So what I've got here is the ability to mail all sorts of people. So I can send this message to, so the, members active within the last 3 months, I can change that to 6 months. I can change that to 12 months. I could contact members inactive for those same periods. I can contact a selected list. So I could go into a previous meeting and contact all of those. I can contact just those that have subscribed to organizer messages. I can produce a custom list. So it's very flexible. I can just go to those that have responded for this meetup, those that have responded no for the meetup. So I could go back to people, sorry that you decided not to come to this meeting, but would you like to come to the next one? So, and all you do here is you put a subject in, you write a message, and you send it, and it goes to all of the people that you've listed in there. So it's a very flexible tool, I find, to be able to. So my 1,534 people that I've got, I could mail to all of those on a regular basis. I don't, because I don't want to bog them down with a load of mail. But certainly, if we've got a special event coming up, I would send it out to all 1,500. I would hope that I wouldn't get 1,500 people responding, because that would cause me a problem. But you know, if that generates 20 people, then that's done a good job. So just again, show you what flexibility there is in Meetup and what sort of things you can do with it. They ought to pay me a commission, I think. What other thoughts? Any other questions?
Can I ask a question there? Catherine Ryan here, Tullamore, Toastmasters. I need to start. I'm very sorry I'm late. Is it 3 clubs that come together to pay for this, or what is the cost involved?
Yeah, we've done 3 clubs, and I discovered that I could actually run 4 off it. So the 3 clubs I mentioned earlier on, each club pays £25 every 6 months, and the balance is picked up by our area director out of their budget. But I discovered that the sponsoring club for our online club, I could run the online club through them. So if I go back again and show you, let me share the screen again. So it's East Midlands Speakers is the sponsoring club. So they're the sponsoring club, East Midlands Speakers. Let me go back. So they're the sponsoring club, but you'll see in here, if I put events, you'll see that the online club is at one of their events. So if I go into a past one, you'll see both clubs are putting their events up. So this was the No Excuses, and this was the contest night at East Midlands Speakers Club meeting. So this is quite useful, really, because the East Midlands Speakers meets on the first and third Monday of the month, and the No Excuses Online Club meets the first and second Tuesdays of the month. So we had the East Midlands Speakers meeting on March the 6th, which was Monday, and we had the No Excuses Online Club on March the 7th. Interestingly enough, is that somebody else does a lot of the work on East Midlands Speakers, and I don't think they're as proactive as maybe I am on the online club, but I'm very proactive on the online club because we're trying to charter the club. So I'm trying to get, I'm trying to bring in as many new members as possible. So, I think that's just a good example of the more proactive you are, the more attendees you're likely to get.
And when you say a sponsorship club, are they paying a lot of money into it as well?
No. I think it's always useful. I don't know whether you have to have it or not. Maybe Elizabeth can answer that, but you normally would have a sponsoring club for a pre-charter club. And we used East Midlands Speakers because I tried to get sponsors from there. I wasn't very lucky in doing that. If we needed some funds to get the club started, then they would have provided it, but we didn't need it. We got enough dual members initially that gave us enough money to play around with. But the sponsoring club generally might provide some funds to get a new club off the ground. I'll come back out of there so as we can see. I think it's a very low cost way of generating inquiries and generating people to come and visit the club. But you have to be proactive.
Can I ask, John, just by show of hands, who's actually using Meetup at the moment to attract members? Okay, so some of us, yeah. Okay, that's good. Yeah. I think Angela is our club president. We use it, but I think Angela is a lot that we can learn from this in terms of being proactive. I think we have it, but we're not proactive about using it. I think that's one definite improvement step that we can take. Although we're not desperate for members because we've got a good number of members, but you know, we can always do with more. And I think definitely there's some takeaway from this. Who else wants to go away and start using Meetup? Anyone who's interested in going to, okay, good. So Catherine, have you got another, say, 2 clubs nearby that you think may be interested? Because if you can get 3 clubs.
Yeah, I think Mullingar and Athlone.
And Athlone, okay.
I don't think they're on it. I know Monaghan are on it.
Yeah.
I can see their emails.
Just going back on the thing you raised, Elizabeth, about not needing members. I mean, I could argue we don't need members. We've got 45 members in East Midlands speakers.
Oh, wow.
But some of those are online club members as well. So just bear that in. But the way we formed the Nottingham Club was off the back of East Midlands speakers having loads of Meetup members. And I think we were up to about 50 members at one stage. So that gave us sufficient numbers to start the next club. And I think we've done that a couple of times now, is to generate enough interest in one club to create the start of another club.
Okay, that's good. I think my words were perhaps not well chosen. We're happy to have more clubs at home. They give us a second club. Yeah. Paul, you've got a question. You've got your hand up.
Hi, Paul.
Hi, John.
Hi, Paul.
I recently set up a Meetup account as a bit of an experiment because our club we weren't able to get it to work. So I decided off my own bat, I'll set up a Meetup account. And I have in my head the idea that because there's so many clubs in Cork City, that it might be possible to get 6 or 7 of them interested in putting information up there. Now, I was thinking I would have the time to put up information about the clubs and the links. Could I do a citywide meetup with just one account?
I don't see any reason why you couldn't. I mean, you could do something similar to what we've done with East Midlands, is that we've effectively running 2 clubs off it. So you could have a citywide account, but then allow other clubs to post information on it.
Yeah, that's what I have.
Particularly if they met on a different day.
Yes, I was thinking of clubs not sharing the account. You know, that's that. But posting plenty of meetings on there, which people could decide to go to.
Yeah, okay. I'm reasonably convinced that would work.
Okay, that's handy. Thanks, John. Thanks. I'll tell you next year how it worked.
Yeah, I think certainly if you've got a lot of clubs in a similar locality, then that would be a good idea of trying. But you can easily put different club information up on one account.
That's the key thing, because we've got about 14 clubs in Cork City alone.
Chris, you've got your hand up again. Question?
I've got one question, John. What do you put on the leaflet? So I'm asking about this poster and leaflet. Do you put Meetup or your website, or?
Let me go. Well, let me go and show you the ones that I put up on the slides earlier. So these are two Canva ones at the top. And these are standard Canva poster backgrounds. Poster formats. As I mentioned earlier on, it's Joseph who's the VP PR of our online club. He produces 3 or 4 of these every meeting, and then we send out different ones just to bring the variety. I suppose I've learned over the years that if you keep publishing the same information, then people get bored of reading it. But if you can put something different up each time, so this is typical of the 2 different ones that would have gone out in the month. What Joseph has started doing now is putting little simple pieces of advice on. So you'll see he's done here, keep it simple. Yeah. If what you say is difficult to understand, your audience will tune you out. Simplicity is elegance. So he's doing that kind of thing now. I think it's just about bringing the changes. Don't keep showing people the same stuff.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I wouldn't put too much stuff on the poster either. Keep it, keep it easy to read.
One last question from Willista because time is gone. Willista, over to you.
Thank you. So I just wanted to ask, have you noticed if there are more people marked in the meetup going into the meeting? Does this attract more visitors? Is it worth encouraging current members who has accounts to go and tick as they are going and attending the meeting? Does that make any difference in our visitors?
Yeah, I think I'm back to the comment I made earlier on about success breeding success, is that we don't just get people coming via Meetup now, we get people coming via Facebook, we get people coming via the club website. And I think it's because of the level of activity. The more we do, the more people we're getting coming in from other sources, not just Meetup. We had a meeting last night of the online club. We had 6 visitors, of which 2 of them came via Meetup and the 4 came from via other sources. And to a certain extent, I think some came via those flyers that I've showed you and from Facebook.